Our top stories tonight: the government's creche closed down due to an outbreak of hand, foot and mouth disease on the island. The minister leading the government's Constitution Celebrations Committee, Honourable Sonia Talangi, announces the theme for the 50th Constitution celebrations this year, and promoting local food at the Wild Food Festival. Whalawhalahiatu, I'm Esther Pavihi and welcome to our BCN News Bulletin tonight. A special welcome also to our viewers from across the region. Leading the news tonight, the Department of Health confirmed that there is an outbreak of the hand, mouth and foot disease on the island. This has seen the closure of the daycare centre or creche on the island on Monday this week. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Akawala shares more on this outbreak.
Over the past week, we've noticed a number of these cases of hand, foot and mouth disease of kids presenting with these symptoms, and the first thing we notice is that they are very in the young age group, below 4 years old, around from 1 to 5 of the cases I have seen in the past week, and most of them they seem to have been attending the creche. So it is a worrying disease to have. It's viral in nature. Usually it's caused by the enterovirus, and it's a self-limiting disease. So it usually looks worse than it is, and most of the time the treatment is just conservative.
The Health Department has currently recorded 12 children affected with the disease.
The measures for preventing it is similar to COVID. It can be spread by the saliva, can be spread by exchange of not washing the hands. For example, if babies chew on toys and then another baby comes along and chews on the toys, it can be transmitted that way. Sometimes they present with blisters, and the little fluid inside the blisters can have the viruses in them. So we urge the people to, similar to preventive measures to COVID, keep the distance. If you notice your baby sick, best to keep them at home, keep them hydrated, isolate from other members, always wash the hands, and avoid direct contact with the baby's mouth or lesions without washing the hands. Always,
This year marks the 50th anniversary of self-government and the Golden Jubilee for the island. And the public has been patiently waiting to find out more about the calendar of events for the celebrations. On Friday last week, at the opening of the Neot High School Athletics, Minister Honourable Sonia Talangi, who chairs the 50th Celebrations Committee, announced the theme of the celebrations this year.
It gives me great pleasure to launch our 50th motto today, a gift especially for our children and our glorious, prosperous future of tomorrow. Kia tū tōkanga moi toki ofa a new way. Tū tōkanga matau whānau, sure and steadfast, like the Boys Brigade motto. Stand tall, stand proud, stand firm, stand ready, and treasure our new way. Kia tū tōkanga moi toki ofa a new way. Nurture and protect our new way, built by our forefathers before us and for our children in the future. New way gemanuenda o we tilo.
Dr. Salesi is the new Chief Medical Officer of the Health Department. He's been at his job for a month already and spoke to BCN News last week about his new job. Here's more with Soraya Mangawa.
Dr. Salesi is not new to the island. In previous years, he has worked at the UFO hospital as a locum cover. He told BCN News that during those short work assignments, he fell in love with the place.
I'm very excited to be part of this team to serve the people of Niue, to help hopefully provide the best care medically that we can provide. And not only that, but probably look into areas of growing and improvement in different areas. So I'm very pleased to be part of the team and to be working with such a very, very good staff together to reach the common goal that we have.
Dr. Salesi's specialty is surgery and will provide some surgical services at the local hospital, and he is also keen to continue the cancer screening program started a few years ago. He told BCN News that with all forms of cancer, early detection is always best, and that is possible through screening programs. Dr. Salesi Akawala says that his doors are open at any time, and he welcomes anyone who may have any medical questions or concerns to approach him. Saraya Mangawa for BCN News.
Testing our water for any contaminants that may be related to the increased number of cancer diagnoses on the island was what John Dennis was on Niue for last week. John Dennis is a water quality specialist from New Zealand, brought in by the Neot Health Department to help the public health sector collect samples from all water bores around the island. The samples are taken to New Zealand for testing. The findings will be released in due course. Here's more with our reporter, Mary Satakala.
Concerns over the past years regarding links between water quality and the increasing number of cancer diagnoses on the island has brought water quality specialist John Dennis to Niue.
The reason why I've come here from New Zealand is to do some sampling of the groundwater here to look for some what we call determinants in the water, contaminants that may be causing cancer. The reason why we're looking for those determinants in the water is because there's been an uptick in cases of cancer that's been discovered, and the reason for that is that public health has actually gone through and started doing screening for cancer cases, so they're actually finding more of them, and so obviously there's a increase in the number of cases that are being reported now, and then some people can become concerned about, why are we getting this uptick in cases? So it may not necessarily be because of the water. These may have been cases that were already there, but there has been concern in the public, and so the public health people have decided that they want to react to that and have a good test of the water to see whether or not that is actually the problem.
Dennis says they are looking to capture the whole geographical area of the island when testing the water samples.
We've looked at areas that are going to give us a representative sample of the drinking water that people are actually consuming. So we're looking at population areas which are quite dense in population. Obviously Alofi is one of those. We're also looking for areas where there is some historical concerns regarding maybe things like pesticide use on the surface and so on. And so we want to make sure that we cover those off when we're doing our sampling as well. And then also to try to get a good geographical kind of spread, so making sure that we capture the whole island in some sort of ways.
The samples will be taken back to New Zealand, and if anything is found, Dennis will liaise with the health department on how this will be addressed.
What we will do then is once we've got those results, we will obviously have a good look at them and assess what we're looking at. If it looks as if we've got some interest in some of what we're finding, we've got a spread of 20 different carcinogens, which is a huge number of determinants to be testing for. It's never been done here before, and anywhere near like this. We may pick some things up that we've never looked at for before, and we can maybe talk a little bit about some of those if you like. But if we do find something of interest in those results, then we will go back to the planning stage again with public health. And there is facility in the work, and WHO is involved in some of this, so there certainly is facility for return visits if we need to. And we are ready to go if we need to. So if we find something of interest, then we'll discuss how we're going to address that and what we're going to be looking for then.
Since 2019, BCN News has covered and written stories about the increasing number of cancer diagnoses on the island and the work of the health department to screen the local population, which has confirmed 23 cancer diagnoses, mainly breast cancer. Meanwhile, the public is reminded to boil their boiling water before drinking. Caution remains in place. Water supply issues also continue to affect areas around the island. The residents of Fonuakula, Folahi and Hui Hui continue to suffer very low water pressure and sometimes no water supply to some homes. Good news for the village of Lakepa, their water was restored yesterday morning. In the statement by the Department of Utilities, the bore pump supplying the village is now powered by a portable generator shared with Liko. Parts for reinstating the bore pump to full capacity will arrive by plane this week. The message from the Department of Utilities is to please conserve water as much as possible. Mersat Kala, BCN News.
The Department of Immigration on Friday last week announced that they are no longer using the Niuean Aboriginal exempt stamp for newly issued passports. The stamp is now replaced with a newly designed sticker with security features. However, these stickers have not yet arrived. According to the head of immigration, Margaret Siosikefu, the delay was due to the designer being unavailable. However, the estimated time of arrival should be before the end of this month. The Niuean Aboriginal exemption sticker identifies the carrier of that New Zealand passport as a resident of Niue. The Immigration Office informs that for those who still have the stamp on their passports, that stamp is still valid. And in other news, a vibrant and bustling scene was at the Paliasi Hall for this year's Niue Wild Food Festival. Locals gathered together, bringing in their wild food entries for the festival. The theme for this year is promotion of local wild food to mark the 50th Constitution celebrations. Soraya Mangawa was there this morning.
There were a total of 9 categories, including herbs, tubers, fruit trees, crustaceans, reef fishes, coastal marine species, avian species, traditional cooked dishes, and traditional seafoods. The event began with formalities with speeches delivered by the Director for DAF, Poyo Kesene, Member Assisting Minister for Natural Resources Emanif Kausiwanavalui, and the President of the Niue Growers Association, Tenis Talangi. BCN News spoke with Director for the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Mr. Poyo Kesene, this morning. He said the significance of this year's Wild Food Festival is bringing back the foods of our ancestors that are rarely seen or enjoyed for food in today's generation. BCN News also spoke with Vice President of the Niue Growers Association, Tom Senior Misikam. He said compared to last year, there's a lot less wild food varieties entered for this year. However, he is happy with the outcome for this year's festival. Winners and prizes will be announced next Wednesday. Sarai Mangawa for BCN News.
Niue High School is inviting expressions of interest to form a Parents Teachers Association, or PTA. Earlier this week, the school posted on their Facebook page an invitation asking the community to work together to make the school a better place. The Niue High School Committee, or PTA, was last active back in 2001.
According to the Niue High School principal Charles Ioane, the school has been calling for expressions of interest for the Parents Teachers Association for over a month now. He revealed in his speech delivered last Friday at the Niue High School Athletic Sports Day that only 2 parents have expressed their interest in the PTA. The Niue High School in the official Facebook page on Tuesday reminded everyone that the call-out for the PTA expression of interest is still open. The post read, "Expressions of interest for the NHS PTA is still open. Let us work together to make the school a better place. Let the school know if you are keen to join the team." The post comes after BCN ran a story about a case of bullying recently by a concerned mother at the school, and the suggestion of a formation of a Parents Teachers Association was brought up. Mersa Takala, BCN News.
Neot Tourism is looking to attract more corporate-type small business conferences as the industry continues to recover post-COVID pandemic. Tourism Niue's advisor Hayden Porter spoke with BCN News recently about a group of corporate executives from some small to medium-sized New Zealand companies who were on the island to see the place that could possibly host their conferences in the future.
We're putting a pretty big number on the success of that week, and some of that business won't arrive, for another year, maybe even 2 years, because of the planning that goes into those groups, but they won't book until they've seen it. So it was really important that we got them over here as well. And then in NZ, we're continuing with the advertising and marketing. We're getting some really good impact there as well, and certainly with the travel trade as well. Most of March was spent on the road around New Zealand in the Niue Mobile by Sarah, and she was doing educational. So she spoke to about close to 500 travel agents over 3 weeks.
Porter also spoke about upcoming projects for Neot Tourism, with the ongoing advertising and marketing in New Zealand having some great feedback. A team from the US Consulate in Auckland was on the island this week. Public Diplomacy Officer Alexia Branch said they'd held a session on grant opportunities and their exchange programs available for Niue through the US Embassy. The grants program funding is focused on promoting stronger connections between the United States and Niue based on shared values. Ms. Branch spoke to our reporter, Mary Satakala.
Public Diplomacy Officer Alexia Branch spoke on the reason why the grants program funding is important to the Niue community.
To talk with the communities here about various opportunities and hear from the community what their interests are and learn more about Niue generally. In particular, we had a session yesterday on grants available through the U.S. Embassy, the U.S. Mission New Zealand, through the Public Diplomacy Office, various grant opportunities available and exchange programs as well.
The team also held a session with the third cohort of Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. Branch also spoke on some of the feedback by participants as well.
Some of the benefits include learning business basics like book management, budgeting, marketing skills, leadership skills, because if you're starting a business, you're going to need to put yourself out there to develop and grow your business. And so these skills, from my perspective at least, when you uplift a woman, you uplift herself, but also her family and her community who learn and benefit from that which she is doing.
The team also held a session at the launch of the third cohort of Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. The Academy promotes women's economic opportunities and ensures that women have the capabilities and resources to participate in the economy.
Session in the evening with our Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. This is a global program that began in 2019 and has 25,000 alumni worldwide of women entrepreneurs. It's a program that helps women develop their businesses, grow their businesses, and really uplift their communities.
Metsatakala, BCN News.
The economic benefits of tourism to Niue aren't just from bona fide tourism, but family reunions and family events like weddings and funerals also contribute to the island's economy with a visiting friends and families market, which aren't always featured in economic data. One such event recently was the Hawhanua Peotangi Talangi family reunion, with their theme, All for One and One for All. A family reunion held their final banquet last night in the village of Lakapa.
More than 50 relatives from New Zealand and Australia joined the family living on the island for their special family reunion. BCN News understands that the family donated more than $20,000 to 2 church communities on the island last Sunday. The visiting families chose to stay in village community properties, giving direct economic benefits to the village communities. According to leader of the family reunion, Maru Talangi, this family reunion has injected over $40,000 into Niue's economy, totaling that to over $60,000 that the family reunion of Hawhanua Peotangi Talangi have injected into Niue's economy in the past 2 weeks. We were happy to catch up with one of the Talangi family who came from abroad, Desiree Tukutama.
About 90 people that came from overseas, plus the ones over here, maybe 250. It's quite lovely to see the families that we met at the last reunion and now this reunion, and also the new and up and coming generation. So as an overseas person, what a privilege and an honour to come and share the genealogies and share the connections between each of the whānaus. The theme for the reunion is All for One and One for All, and that we all need each other and we're actually just one whānau, one family. So it's actually been quite a wonderful experience, especially for our younger kids.
Desiree said it's a privilege and an honour to be part of this reunion, to share the connections and genealogy of the family generations, especially for the younger ones. BCN News also spoke with one of the family members from Australia, Eva Tams Nicholas.
It's been great. I've always said to my children who are half English, make the memories and know who your family are. So precious memories. Unfortunately, we've lost a few since our last reunion in 2017, and no doubt we'll lose some more.
The final banquet held at Lialangi Hall began with formalities, with speeches delivered by family members of the family lines. The leader of the family reunion was Maru Talangi, who was also shared his words of welcome and gratitude to all the families gathered.
Have a very enjoyable evening, and take back with you the good memories here on Niue, and learn not to be late. All right? While you're overseas, keep in close contact with each other. We over here in Niue, we know each other.
The Hawhanua Peotangi Talangi family reunion takes place every 4 years, but the last time the reunion was held in Niue was in 2011. Saraya Mangawa for BCN News.
The village of Higutavaki officially started the annual Village Day circuit for the island this year with their annual show day last Saturday. The village assemblyman Ian Hipa, along with the elders from the village, welcomed guests and dignitaries who turned up to celebrate with the folks at Higutavaki. Our BCN team with reporter Sarai Mangawa were also there.
Mr. Hipa also spoke about some of the village projects they're working on to be ready by October this year in time for the big day of celebrations to mark 50 years of self-government. The show day was officially opened by Premier Dalton Tangilangi. Also in attendance were the New Zealand High Commissioner Mark Gibb and Australia's High Commissioner Katie Stewart, joining other cabinet ministers to join in the celebrations with the folks at Higutavaki. BCN News understands that the village will also host another show day on the 27th of this month. Saraya Mangawa for BCN News.
And Niue High School held their annual athletics day last Friday at the Paliasi grounds. The 4 sports teams of Kieto, Langakali, Moea and Pua competed for the coveted title of champion team. The culmination of 2 days of competitions on Friday last week saw Team Pua again come up on top, retaining the title from last year as Niue High School champion team for 2024. Langakali in second place, Moea in third and Kieto in fourth. In the March Past competition, this year the best marching teams, a draw between Moea and Pua, Kieto in third and Langakali in fourth. The Athletics Day is one of the highlights of the school calendar as families and friends come together to support and cheer their athletes on. BCN cameras captured some of the highlights of the day.
Embracing 50 years of our rich sporting history towards a sustainable community is exactly that and so much more. We embrace 50 years of our rich sporting history so you may reach for greater heights. Mata Girunga.
And congratulations to all the students and the staff of Niue High School for that great athletics day. Congratulations also to Team Pua for retaining the championship this year. That's our news for tonight. Do join us again on Tuesday next week for our bulletin in Wangahau Niue. Until then, I'm Mr. Pavihi. Good night.